what I didn't expect is getting to hear what other people were working on and how that helped me as an individual. Like they're going through something that maybe I've already gone through. And so I'm like kind of refreshing myself on that and saying like, oh yeah, I overcame that and this is how I did it. And like, this is how I can help myself. And then also because I am, fully stepping into coaching is how hearing other people's stories and how they're getting help is how I can help more people from that as well. So that's, and then obviously like when we do ads and things, like Nicole is in my group. So like Nicole will have like all these ad things and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, oh, I should do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, because I don't have, like, it's not something that I naturally do.
Your mind opens up in a new way to what you wouldn't get in a one-on-one. Although one-on-ones, yes, they are like specific to you. You can, Paula does a great job as a coachee, as a client. She shows up to her one-on-ones with a list of stuff she wants to go through, like every single time. I don't have an agenda. She has the agenda. She says, this is what we're going through today. And I'm like, I'm here. So she goes through with me. This is what I need help on. Bing, boom, bam. And we get through it. And she gets a lot out of her calls that way because she's prepared. She shows up like an A player, if I could say. And you want to also, encourage your clients to do that. And so that's why I don't always come with something. I say, what do you need from me today? Because that's why it's customized to one-on-one. But then what happens in the group is it's new things that you would have never expected. And you can really get inspired by other people and have new ideas. And not only that, but kind of, watch the process that they go through and realize that you're not alone and you can work through your own blocks that you
And it
didn't
feels,
expect, or you didn't even know you had, or you didn't want to face that you had, but you see other people and you connect and you get it in a way that you weren't getting it when it was said to you.
yeah. And it's a community. And there's been topics that have brought up that I remember someone brought up about, like spirituality. And then it got into this whole other topic that like, it's not something I would normally bring up. Right. So then we went there. And so it's just another depth, but it's community too. Cause like, I don't talk to everybody in the group all the time, but there'll be like little things like Michelle will be like, have you read this book? I'm like, oh, I haven't read that book. And then I'm like, so it's a little bit deeper level by having that community of people who are going through the same program, even though we have no business that's very much alike at all.
Yeah, but you can really learn from each other. And like it's all different areas of your life, and that's redefining your value of your level of success, and then being inspired by what other people did to better yourself, as a whole. And when you better yourself, it inevitably impacts your business. So even if you're here 100% for business, when you elevate in your life overall, it impacts how you show up in your business. You can't be all business. No one's even going to want to work with you. You're not interesting anymore, right? Right? I mean, this is like life, from the impossible to the I'm possible. And I want anyone that I call on to be super honest and raw. Like this is like, and you guys can ask me any questions at all, always. That's one thing I will always be as your coach, is transparent. I will share with you what my failures are at the current time and in the past, and what works for me, what doesn't, where my successes have been, numbers, anything you want to know. Like I'm an open book. Why? Because I would want a coach that's the same way. There's no like, that's not your business. You guys get to hear everything. And when I asked Paula to talk, I want her to talk real. So Paula, if you could share like where you were at in business and life a little bit, of both when we first got together.
So we first got together 3 years ago for this specifically, because we've known each other a long time. And a lot of you probably heard some of the story, but I had just bought my mentor out of the dog training business. And I initially, when she had offered it, I didn't want to be a business owner. I didn't know how to run a business or grow a business. So I thought, big joke on me. And so I was scared. I wanted to do it. And I needed the support, and that was the business side. And I only had the dog training business, which was a successful business. And I also had, been married successfully for many years. So probably so that was 3 years ago. It's like 18 years I'd been married happily. And then fast forward, probably 2 years. I mean, this year has been a huge growth, but last year was a really big year. My business, I doubled it. I doubled the revenue. I added 2 team members, and that's only to the dog training business, not even counting coaching, because coaching really has taken hold this year. I absolutely love running both of my businesses. A lot of challenges have come up with like relationships and stepping outside of thinking of other dog trainers as competitors. I thought that, you got to like, don't let them see the inside of your business because they'll steal it. And that's kind of how I was taught from my mentor, not to diss my mentor at all. She's amazing, but that was one of her struggles, and I had to figure out myself. And so I let that go 2 years ago.
So I'm just going to interject. So
Sure.
This is why it's powerful for all of you to listen to different stories, because you can see where this something that they have that they're going through that they share might show up in your own life. So the difference is having a scarcity mindset is competitive, and it's coming from lack, that there's not enough for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
An abundance mindset is coming from there's plenty of success for everyone. And the more people I help, the better.
And it was a huge shift. Huge shift. Because that's, what we had done in the past. So shifting that and going from that, if someone is going to burn me or steal something, they're going to do it, but I can't go into the interaction with that. So
they will do less of it when you believe that they won't. When you step forward in your life, not believing that people will take advantage of you or that are competing with you, it's no longer an issue. It's really amazing.
It is amazing.
And
I would say no one has done it.
It's just a really big point.
Yeah, no one has
done it. No one's done it. I remember when I was a yoga teacher, I'm going to just interject one quick thing because I want to drive this point home, and I definitely want to be back to you. But when I, being a yoga teacher, I started training other teachers, and everyone in town said, you even like this one top businessman was like, really successful guys, like, are you crazy? Like you're training people to be your competitors? And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, that's not how it works. Like, if I spread, like, you don't even get yoga. If I spread more goodness in the world and more people share more goodness, we start to change the world. And that's the driving force, first of all. But now now that's number one. Now, from a business standpoint, I have put myself on this level where I'm the trainer. I'm the founder of a school. I'm the one with the experience. I'm looked at in a totally different light than just the only yoga teacher, right? I'm the yoga teacher of teachers. Not that that was my driving force. It wasn't. But I'm just telling you, when you follow your heart and you want to just spread more goodness, this is how it evolves for you. And now Paula has made these changes. So what changes have you made in working with other what's your attitude towards, and what are the changes with other industry owners, who would be considered competitors? Could you share that?
So one of the people who would be a direct competitor, she's amazing. We actually refer to her now this year because we didn't have certain classes offered. We didn't have the bandwidth. We referred 100% to her for that particular type of case. And she has referred to us and supported us in creating our board and train program, which is something we didn't have a year ago. I also have been able to partner with someone we were able to offer outdoor classes that we weren't able to do this year, with someone that I kind of knew. She has a facility that she doesn't teach, got to do that.
So let me just back up here. So doing board and train now, you didn't have that before. You have that as a result from working with a direct competitor because you stepped out to help them. Do you have any idea if you were not prepared for this? So you maybe don't know. Do you know off the top of your head what kind of revenue you generated from board and train?
I don't.
And you
it's still growing.
It's pretty good in your numbers.
But yeah, but board and train itself,
like classes.
Just during this call today, it generated $800 from one board and train. So if it's $800 a week, and now I have 2 trainers doing it, it's still growing. Like, it's only been, a little over a year. But we didn't have that at all. And she was willing to open up. I mean, she was the open one. I wasn't. She's also a really dear friend, and I just traveled with her. And we have such an amazing relationship. And she's also my coaching client. So like I wouldn't have had that. So, you
So
know, like just
so what
one
is-
person.
so now Paula has had her as a coaching client. So she's making the revenue off of that. She's formed this two new programs, really. I mean, the Board and Train is a new program, the opportunity to do outdoor. You just heard that one was just today was $800. And you said there might be one or two a week. So that's like 1,500 a week, 3,000.
And it's growing. Like it's a growing thing.
Easily 6,000 could be going to 10,000 a month. That's actually, over 100,000 a year.
And and I don't have to do it. My instructors do it. So they make good money.
She doesn't even do it. Passive income. Passive income, but that's because of a mindset shift that occurred because she showed up to be open to coaching and to receive the lessons and not shut herself down. And she mindset shifted to say, I want to give. I want to train others that compete with me directly to be even better. And what's happened? Abundance is returning to her.
And it was scary to do that because I had, 7 years of practicing that mentality that you have to be careful. And I tell her so now I have my coaching, I coach women all over the US and Canada right now that are dog trainers. And like Tara, I open up my books. Like I tell them exactly what my numbers are, what I would do. Like I tell them everything. I give them my contracts. And it's like that's generated over, I don't know, I need to look at those numbers. I would say over $20,000 in the last few months, just in that alone.
That's additional. Besides what her other business has continued to do, just the dog training business. I mean, her individual, income levels are at the point of quadrupling.
And it's way more than I made when I worked corporately.
And is it more than you ever thought you'd make?
Oh, heck yeah.
Then she averaged.
Because everyone's like, you can't make a living being a dog trainer. Right? Like, the other thing I want to share too is like a year and a half ago, I basically retired my husband. I mean, he works with me, but he works very minimal. That was terrifying. And our relationship. So I thought our marriage was good, but it's way better now that I've let go of some of those beliefs around our relationship and using the 4 questions from Byron Katie. That was a huge, cry saga to Tara. I don't like crying in front of people, but I tend to do it with Tara. We have our relationship's even better. And when he said that his job was sucking the life out of him, I was like, all right, well, let's make a plan. And we made a plan, and it was within a few months. He quit his job, and we needed his income. And he has not gone back to work in a year and a half. Like he works for me, but.
And what would have happened prior to coaching if he would have said, I hate my job, I wish I could quit?
I would have gone into shock. Here's the thing. I don't think he would have said it. I think he would have suffered. I think he would have suffered because we didn't talk
I don't think he would have said it. And if he did say it, I think you would have said, hell no.
I would say we can't. And he's always supported me. Like when I got let go from my job, he was just like, you can do it. And he doesn't have the same philosophies that we have here. But he always is like, we'll make it work. And so we have.
And then he went and lost like 50 pounds. I mean, there was this is what happens to people around you when you up level. She'd come to me and she'd be like, he's doing some of the stuff. like he's doing all these different things. Like, are you coaching him secretly? No.
Yeah. Like I still remember it was like, so it was like early July, a year and a half ago. And I had the breakdown about, our relationship, and we went through the 4 questions for Byron Katie, and I was all emotional. And I don't know if you guys have ever done this, especially early on in your relationships, but I'd always be like, I'm going to change myself and I'll change him. And like, I would do that for like a couple of weeks, and then it wouldn't work because it wasn't really changing me. And so this time I did it differently. And I was just like, oh, I have to work on me, and I can only worry about my thoughts and my beliefs.
Oh my God.
And I kid you not, 6 months later, he's like, so I'm going to go keto. and and I was like, who are you? Well, he'd never, ever, I'd always be the initiator of weight loss. And then like 4 months later, he had already dropped 50 pounds. And then 2 months later, after that, he stopped, he quit his job so that he could work with me. He wanted to support my business. So yeah, and now he talks to me all the time. But it's pretty amazing because our relationship is completely different, but I literally only changed me.
Yeah.
Which is hard enough.
So much, Paula. I love that you share, and I just want you guys to take that in. Like, that's what happens. Like, it is literally magical when you start to step in and change you. And Paula she always showed up. I'm ready to be coached.
Even if I don't like hearing it.
She didn't always like hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
She trusted me, and she trusted herself. And she had a bonus that she knew me from a long time ago. So she knew who I was as a person. So that helped her to be able to trust me right away, I'd say. I know some of you just met me on the internet.
That's how I met my husband, so it works out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, this is how all aspects of your life start to shift. And she came to me very specifically for business coaching. Like, this was business coaching, but she was open. And our last call, I actually mentioned, I didn't talk to Carmen too much about what we talked about. Sometimes Carmen and I do share, by the way. That's the only we'll share in order to help you. We don't share otherwise, but we share with each other. But that's how much we care, that we will share, so we can talk about how we can best elevate you. But I did tell Carmen my last call, Paula, I said, you won't believe it, because Paula comes in with her business agenda and she's ready to go. This is new programs. I'm looking at, how do I price this, Tara? How do I do the launch? How do I have this? This is what's happening with my employee. This is what I want to do with building the team. I don't have time for this in my life. She comes and we go through it and we get it done. This time was I think the first time in 3 years, we didn't even bring up business. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm happy either way. I love business coaching. It lights me up, but it's amazing to see the shift in her.
And sometimes it takes me a while too. Tara will say something, and then 3 months later, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to do this thing. And she's like, we talked about that 3 months ago.
Like, I've been telling you that for like a year.
She's like, you should do online training. I was like, yeah, we'll get to it. But eventually, I mean, it's not that, it's just, I have to be ready.
Yeah, that's fine. And sometimes I get the little spiritual downloads for you. I'm talking to you. It's really crazy. Some of you that get really connected to me will notice that I will reach out to you. And this, I think it just happened to one of you last week. Yeah, I know who it was. I think it was Dana, but this happens a lot where I'll like reach out to you and they're like, how did you know? I'm like, I don't know. I just randomly reached out because you're going through, like, I can almost sense what you're going through in that moment. It's really special, and it's really magical how this impacts all of your life. So thank you, Paula, for sharing some of that. I do hope you guys find that inspiring, and I hope you can. It's really important to hear these stories so you know what's possible, from going from impossible to I'm possible, what's possible in your own life. Like, that's why this is important to hear. Like, this is the path, right? When you say yes to life, life starts to say yes to you and support you. Wanting to help others.
And the other thing I'll say, Tara, that I tell my own coaching folks, especially my 90-dayers, because it's new, is like, if you've never done something like this before and you like just go all in, just be aware it's going to feel really crazy because it's going to happen fast. And that might be scary, but just be like, this is amazing. Because it can, if it's never happened to you before, it's scary. Like, all this awesomeness, you're like, this cannot be real. It really is.